Welcome to the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. For over 10 years, giving you the best author reviews, features, and more with a surprise or two. All for you, the author. Now kick off your shoes and enjoy the show with your host, me, author H.D. Campbell. Welcome to the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. As always, I'm your host, H.D. Campbell. I want to start the ball rolling with a little bit of news. My author, Elliot Howard from Hard Drive Publishing, his book, Take a Walk With Me, they both will be featured in a panel discussion of just major authors with host Queenie Clem September 26th. It's going to be a great discussion. It's going to be virtual, and I'll have more info as the time comes on how you can check it out. Also, I have two amazing specials coming next month. It's going to be beautiful. The first is going to be 2 weeks with Julia Press Simmons, and it's going to be a huge discussion. Four amazing authors. Four authors. All talking about their craft for powerful women, and it's just going to be wonderful. Then also, I got another full hour of five female nerds. Yes, girls can be nerds too, and they're going to be talking about the vampire anthology that they put together. So it's going to be an altogether 1 hour sci-fi special with these five amazing authors. So stay tuned for that, and I'll have promo as they come about. Now, on today's show, I have two amazing authors. First, I'm going to have Dominique Latoya Sherman. She talks about losing her children due to abuse and just being stabbed in the back, and her fight to get them back with her book. And I'm also going to talk about how you can help towards the end of the interview. So please stay tuned for that. Then we're going to talk to Elizabeth Cain about her book. Her book is about to be reviewed by me, yours truly, and you'll find out more about that as well. But first, after this break, we'll talk to Latoya Sherman. This October is the Author's Corner's biggest special ever. In conjunction with Sticky Situations and founders Julia Press Simmons and Allison Grace, we'll be doing a 2-week special with four amazing authors. Powerful storytellers talking about their craft and more. October 5th is the date. HD Television is the channel. Stay tuned as we talk to Allison Grace, Sandra McCall, Shabor, and Forever Red, coming together for one big special. News, updates, and more from Sticky Situations with a surprise or two. It's a Sticky Situations special with Julia Press Simmons and Allison Grace, October 5th on the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell on HD Television. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless.
By Late Murder at 10 by H.D. Campbell. Former investigative reporter Mark Alexander thought his life hit a slump when a mass shooting results in the murder of a controversial news anchor. Can Mark get out of his head long enough to crack this case? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to get your own copy of Late Murder at 10 on Amazon.com and coming soon to your favorite bookstore.
Welcome back. My first interview was with Latoya Sherman. Latoya Sherman has been through a lot. She lost her children. She's been in abusive relationships. And she just tried to piece her life back together. And she's doing it. She's got a new book. She's fighting with the court system now, and if there's anything anyone can do to help, please help. But buying her book would definitely help. But to find out more what I'm talking about, here's the interview. Your book.
My book is called What God Called to Live, The Enemy Couldn't Kill. And the book is basically about my life and my journey through trials and tribulations from the time that I could start remembering, what a childhood was, and basically it gives you a a small inside scoop on from birth up until I lost custody of 3 of my children back in 2010, and my fight to try to get custody of them back, and going through everyday life, real things, and surviving, being able to tell my story and my testimony in hopes that it will empower young girls and young women all over the world.
Awesome. Now, I don't want to, well, without giving any details, I want people to read the book. But what were some of the circumstances for you to lose your children and the journey to get them back?
I lost my children for exposure to domestic violence. Me and their dad used to fight a lot. So around the time when they were taken, it was that time when I had already was told and kind of pre-warned that if the authorities kept getting calls about us fighting and the kids being present, that they were eventually going to take my children from me. And that's exactly what happened. We didn't listen. We still fought. We would get into it a lot. And this last time, they were taken for exposure to domestic violence. And it's been over 10 years, and I've been fighting still to this day to be reunified with them.
Okay. So what happened to the guy? The children got taken away.
And that's the reason we all want to buy this book, because believe it or not, he has custody of one of the children now. He doesn't have all 3 of them, but he does have one. And it's just been a crazy case. I don't know really the words to explain it, but I'll go into further detail in the book about it.
Okay, yeah, because it always bothers me how the aggressor always ends up being the lucky one. I'm not going to say blessed. He's the lucky one.
That's right.
To actually get custody of one of the children he's beating on you, which I'm not understanding that. So, again, I want people to read the book. How long has the domestic violence been going on?
We're no longer together now, but back then it went on, I could say, after the 6th month of our relationship for a good 10 years.
Well, so right now, see, you're smiling and everything is, you're finally getting everything back together. You got everything, you're getting everything straight, which is so cool. What made you decide to write about your journey?
I decided to write a book when I was visiting my children at the local family visitation center. With my case plan, they mandated me to visit my children at a supervised center one day a week for an hour, where I had to pay to see my children. And
just did you just, maybe I misheard that. You said you had to pay?
Yeah, I paid by the hour to see my children.
Go ahead.
So just going through that experience, and being the person that's in this situation with my children, there were plenty of days where it just was downright torture. And I could just remember sitting there telling my kid, I'm going to write a book about this. I'm going to tell our story, because people don't know, they're just on the outside looking in. And I'm from Gainesville, Florida, and we're in a little small town. Everybody knows everybody, and they think they know everybody, but people don't know the half. They just know it. They just know what they think they see. And as a mom and as a woman of integrity, I tried to mask a lot of stuff and kept a smile, tried to remain positive with a lot of things. But on the inside, there were things like this going on, that I was fighting constantly. But if I didn't speak on it, you wouldn't have known.
What was the breaking point to the point where, look, I've had enough of this. I'm ready to fight. What was your breaking point?
The breaking point was about 2.5 years ago. I was still paying to see my kids after almost 9 years, 8+ years rather. And one day I called to check on my visitation, as I always do. And we have to just let them know we're coming. And I kind of was agitated with everything, agitated with the case, agitated with family members, everybody involved. So that was a breaking point for me, and I was acting differently, but I was acting, in my words, the way I should have been acting. But nevertheless, I called the visitation center one day, and when I told them that I was confirming my visit, the lady that I spoke with told me that she had heard I wasn't myself lately, and I had been acting erratically, and that they thought that it was best that I didn't see my kids at the time. So me being me, I grabbed a piece of paper, I wrote it down. I said, so you're telling me at such and such date at such and such time that I can't come to see my kids, and you're diagnosing me over the phone, basically. You're not a psychologist, you're not a doctor, you're a receptionist at a desk, but you're diagnosing me and telling me I can't see my children. So nevertheless, I wrote it down, and I told them that day, I'm not coming back there ever again. If you can diagnose me on the phone, you sure can say whatever you want to say about me if I come there and I don't act unto your liking or your, So after that, I went through some issues with my kids, had to be admitted into Meridian for psychological help and all kind of things like that. But at the same time, that was the breaking point, because I was telling everybody I'm fed up. I know I can take care of my kids. I haven't been in any trouble. I've left that relationship alone. And there's laws, and there's laws of there's rights. There's child laws and rights to our children when we're in cases like this. And I've picked through a lot of stuff and looked up the laws and the statute when it pertains to my case. In my case, the law states, if the situation that deemed my children adjudicated delinquent to the department have been found to be changed and circumstances have changed, I am by law granted to have another chance with my children. And over the course of these years, that has not happened. I petitioned the court, I wrote the court, I've done every case plan they've gave me. I haven't been perfect, no one's perfect, but I've done what you guys have asked, and they still have not budged on my children.
You don't know how hard it is to hear, because at the end of the day, forget about this interview, forget about me, the office, and all this stuff. I'm a father. The father hearing all this hurts me. So I need to backtrack to a couple minutes and ask a couple questions, because, like you say, people don't know you. They only know what they hear.
Mm-hmm.
So as a father, I know what you're going through. So I'm gonna give you a chance to tell your story. First, before we go into anything, and I'm sorry for laughing, because this is just so crazy. Explain to me the pay scale for your kids, then we'll go into the other part. Explain that, because that is a new one on me.
Explain what part?
The pain to see your own children.
Right. I mean, that within itself was the worst part of it all. I mean, it's almost like I used to think in my head, how could you charge me to see what I birthed?
Yeah.
And not a little bit of money, $50 an hour. If I wanted 2 hours, it was $100.
Where does money go to? Go ahead.
I would like to know the same thing, because at this time, going through the center, at first I had 2 kids. By the time it was over, I had 3 kids. So my question to them was, why take from me and my children when I could take this money to provide for them?
Yeah, because I could have already gotten me an apartment or a house and had food ready, clothes ready. I could have been ready for my kids for all this money I'm paying you just to see them.
That's right. It was like I've been through hell. When I say hell, if there is a hell, I've been through it with my children. And I describe my situation as them, when I say them, the Department of Children's Services, they're taking my heart out of my chest and saying, we need your heart, but you have to stand over here and look at your heart and live. But we need your heart.
I need you to define acting erratically for me, because right now you are saying to me, You're saying you're just somebody who's very ready to get her kids back. So define acting radically to me.
Cussing people out that need to be cussed out, and just giving it to them blood raw, and that's acting erratically in Gainesville, Florida.
Well, to me, that's called not being bullied.
Exactly. Putting my foot down.
I'm not gonna let you talk to me any type of way.
Yeah, basically. And I've kind of been that way from day one. I let a lot of things go on with family in the court because at the time when it happened, I was just turning 21. Had no knowledge of anything that I was going through. So I didn't really know what to do and what to say in court or period throughout the situation. But throughout the situation, again, I got tired. I got fed up. I got pushed in the corner to where it was only one way out. Me against the world for my children. And an animal, a puppy, a dog. If you mess with a dog's puppy, it's gonna attack you. So me as a human being, what am I supposed to do?
You were so right. But have you had any allies in this fight? No one?
Not really. Not really. The people that I thought would be there and advocate for me, they turned out to do the opposite. And it's a shame that most people are based on money. I mean, it's all about money and getting credit for raising the children. And I mean, you wouldn't believe. That's why I had to write a book. It's so much I've been through, so much I'm still going through. But at the end of the day, not giving up, keeping that fight alive, and doing what I have to do to make sure my children know that this was never by choice. It was always forced, and mommy never gave up.
So the purpose of the book is to help people to speak your position right now. I'm telling you, there's a lot of women in your position right now.
A lot.
So you can't. So dare I ask, have you been in contact with at least your ex?
Well, now, believe it or not, we do talk, and we're on a whole better page than we were even 6 months ago. He's growing. He's married now, and I think my situation with my children helped me exposing the situation, helped him grow and change his ways and become a better man and father. I won't speak on his personal relationship because I don't know details, if they fight or they don't, does he beat on her or anything like that. But as far as me and his communication, we have gotten a lot better, and co-parenting with that one child, even though we're not even supposed to, he's not even supposed to allow me to see him, let the court say. And I'm just going to be totally honest about it. We're doing what we have to do, what's best for our child. And my son is 7 now. So at the time when he was taken, he was 18 months. He knows me. All of them know me. They have a bond with me. So it's kind of hard to say, no, you can't talk to your mom because the court said you can't. Kids don't understand that. Mm-hmm. So we've been working to the best of our ability to get along and still find a way for me to have involvement with my children. And it's kind of shocking because for the first 10 years, it was like he was against me with everyone else. But time brings about change. And like I say, I think the situation within itself and me exposing it forced him to change. And so far to this day, right now, we're on a good page. But in the book, I go into detail about our long, extensive relationship and the abuse, because he was a chronic abuser. A chronic cheater and a real abuser. So I didn't leave anything out. I was honest about everything. And like I said, I want this to be an example to young girls of what not to do. And if they do find themselves in these situations, how to get out and to know there is a way out, regardless of what the situation may look like, regardless of how long you've been in the situation, regardless of who's against you in the situation. Whatever you're fighting for, you fight until you win.
Just hearing your story, I'm hearing everything you say, but the fact that you're doing this fact is what's still sitting in my head. I mean, you think, I'm glad that at least he's trying to help you. I mean, but parents or some type of so-called friend, someone, a pastor,
Exactly.
somebody. Wow. I can't get over that. So I guess my next question for you is, what's it going to take for you to finally get them all back?
I mean, if I knew, I would tell you. From what I'm understanding now, after petitioning the court so many times and hiring a paid attorney, they're basically telling me that once a case goes to permanent guardianship, which my case did, and my oldest two are in the custody of my first cousin, that if the caregiver isn't in agreement with what I'm asking for, it's a hard case to fight. And in this case, she's against me. She won't verbally say it, but she does everything to make sure that they never leave her house.
I don't mean to cut you off for a second, but you said first cousin, which means family. You mean family? Family, no one is on your side. Family is supposed to be. Hi.
That's right. That's right.
No, family is, I mean, don't make me cuss on my show, but what the hell? Seriously.
Cuss, I cuss too. I just wanted you to cuss first.
I mean, seriously, this is some bull.
It is. It is. It is.
I mean, but continue to tell me about it being, the two of them being in the custody of your first cousin, which astounds me, because if I was your first cousin, I'd be like, and I'm serious, this would be me. I would have your children, but then you'd have your children.
That part, and that I'm totally in agreement with you. My whole entire.
In other words, it'll be our little secret.
Exactly. But that's how you know that I made a mistake when I gave her my children, or I called her from jail to get the kids, because it goes into detail in the book. It tells you exactly the day I lost the kids and going to jail and everything. And I called her. She was the person that I called because she was always around. She was like a big sister to me. We never had a problem, and she was responsible. So I thought, but it flipped. When she got those kids from day one, she got them on a Sunday. Monday, I was on child support in jail.
In jail on child support?
In jail. On child support. So it's like almost a Lifetime horror movie. Real life, though. I'm living it. I'm still surviving. I'm still fighting. She doesn't want to give up my children. She gets child support from me and my kid's dad. I haven't got an income tax in over 8-9 years. She gets that. Everything my kids ask for, everything they need, me and their dad still provide.
So she getting child support from both of you?
Yeah.
Again, what the hell?
Yeah, someone that I trusted, and like I say, was more like a big sister to me, but she's my first cousin. And what bothered me the most about the situation is I looked up to her, I trusted her, and she made me want to have a relationship with God because she was a so-called Christian. And I thought, at that time that she was right. It wasn't so. Soon as she got my kid, she flipped strip, and she was against me from day one.
No, but here's what bothers me. Fast forward, because you wrote this book, you're doing this interview. Obviously, you're doing a little better because you have a couple kids with you now, and you look like you have a nice home and everything. Man, and they're still not going to give you the kids back. Something's wrong with the system is broken.
It's broken.
It's a system. If your former boyfriend helping you out, and yeah, something's broken with your sister.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So,
And I feel like that it's not just here in Gainesville, it's a worldwide problem. They know, first off, we don't have money to fight these cases. So when they can get a family in there that they know that doesn't have the money to fight these cases and make sure the law is upheld, right? They'll do this, I feel like. And it's all about money, even with them. It's all about money.
I don't. I'm really not. I'm really not understanding that. You shouldn't have to, especially with money. If you, in other words, if you want me to take care of my children, that money should go for me taking care of my children. You're not even telling me what the money I'm paying goes to.
Exactly.
Is it to line your pocket to pay your people? No. Some folks do that. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm preaching on your interview, but it just bothers me.
I love it. I this is what we need. We need to get it out there. We need to talk about it. And if there's anybody that is listening that know of any resources that could help me, I'm more than open to any help that I can get, because there have been plenty of days that I just prayed and still today just pray for a miracle, because I need the help. I need someone to fight for me and my children. And that's one of the things I'm doing now. And another reason I put the book out, to generate a source of income so that I could do what I need to do and get the attorney that I need to get, because I want my children back. My children want to be home with me. I'm more than capable of taking care of them. I've had 2 more children who I have custody of. I'm doing great. I've not been in any trouble. I'm no longer in that relationship. I'm not in any relationship, and I'm not having any problems of domestic violence whatsoever. So there's no reason my children shouldn't be able to come home. You know, they say that the power is in the tongue. I'm gonna get them back. I don't think about the chances. I've been told over and over again that I might as well wait until they're 18. I'm not.
You don't wait till you're 18 to get a relationship with your children. Hell no.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking that for an answer. I'm never taking no for an answer. I'm going to keep fighting. And to this day, I find a way to contact them. I find a way to bond with them. I show up to their events. They're all in sports. I show up to their school. Whatever I have to do to show my children that this mom doesn't care what the court say, doesn't care what anyone says. I'm going to make sure you guys know that I care for you, and I was there, and I never gave up. I never took no for an answer, because these are my children, and I've never done anything to physically harm my kids. Although I'm not going to say domestic violence in front of them is right, but domestic violence is on TV. Every child in the world has been exposed to domestic violence. You feel me? So even with that within itself, it was a case that I could not understand. And that's even more what led me to keep fighting, because this has to have a bigger purpose. This has to have a bigger calling. It has to have a bigger platform, because my children should have never been taken. I know children that need shelter. My children wasn't one of those kids. And everyone that knows me, they can vouch for what I'm telling you. My children had a good life. They had a good home. They were in the best daycares. I mean, even though me and their dad fought, their life and lifestyle that I tried to provide for them were at no point in time deemed unfit or unsafe. It was just the domestic violence between me and the dad. That's it.
Yeah, you ain't got to vouch a damn thing with me. I mean, I can tell in your voice how much you love your kids and how much you regret losing them. So you ain't got to vouch a damn thing with me. Switching gears really quick. What's the name of your book?
What God called to live, the enemy couldn't kill.
Awesome, awesome. And where can we buy your book?
My book is available now. We're doing pre-sales. I have a link. I will send to you. But after I close out the pre-sales, it will be available on my website and on Amazon.
Awesome. Also, too, how can we get to know you, learn more about you, help you? Where can we contact you?
You can contact me on Facebook. I also have at Mom of a Young Rich Queen, and I also have an Instagram, Miss Lovely 3000, and I will be accepting emails at whatgodcalledtolive@gmail.com. DM me, email me, write me on Facebook. I love interacting with Facebook and everybody on there when I can. So any of those ways. My phone number is also in the book. So if someone doesn't have social media, they don't have an email address, they can call me, because I'm also one of those people that love to help others. So sometimes somebody just needs someone to talk to, just needs someone to vent to and get it out, that doesn't know the situation or isn't already informed about a situation. Don't want to bias the opinion about their situation. Just want a listening ear. If you might be that person, or someone that's listening might be that person, or a young lady that needs someone to talk to, that's stuck in a situation and just wants someone to talk to, they can call me.
Thank you for wanting to talk to me and share your story, because even though it angers me, it really got me, well, I'm trying not to cuss, but it kind of got me kind of messed up. It don't need to happen. Here's why I give you the final word. I normally give also the final word to say what's on their mind, but I want to give you the final word to say what you want to say to your children, to whomever, about your story.
Okay, first to my kids, I love all 5 of you. Now I'm a mother of 5. I have 3 girls, 2 boys, Aaliyah, Rodney Jr., King, Mia Bailey, and Paisley Kayor. I love you guys. Mommy gonna continue to fight. And I wrote this book for you guys, and I'm gonna write another book. So be on the lookout for book number 2. All my ladies and young girls, stay empowered. Consider yourself at all times the queen. You're rich in spirit, love, finances, health, wealth, and everything above and not below. Any guys that could take anything from this, cherish your kids' moms. Treat them better. Do things so that your kids know it's mandatory to respect women. Let your sons see you respecting their mom, so that they know that it's mandatory to respect women when they grow up. Live the story you want to tell, no matter whose story isn't the same as yours, or who doesn't like what you have to say. Be you and remain original. And at all times, try to remain positive. But by all means, when you have something that's on the inside of you that's brewing, and you know it's facts and it's true, get it out. Don't hold it in.
And if you want to help, please contact her at the email below, or you can always contact me at accampbell3@msn.com. And I'll also have a link in the coming days on my website, accampbell3, accampbell3.com. So, any way you can help, please, because she really is fighting. And we're a village. We got to learn that we are a village, and together we can actually make a lot of difference in this world. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Elizabeth Cain about her works. Stay tuned.
Coming soon, the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, reintroducing you to a special agent, Sergeant Wise Guy, the government's top strategics and agent with a very sarcastic tongue. A former ranger, he heads up a team of specialists taking care of missions too big or too messy or other agents don't want to handle. His first mission takes him to Paris, where a stolen Cold War nuclear warhead was discovered. While discovering the warhead's origin, a lost dead love resurfaces. Can Sergeant Wise Guy resolve both before the secret plans for the warhead is complete? Well, check out the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, coming soon.
Welcome back. We're going to talk about The Inverted Princess with Elizabeth Cain. I mean, she talks about her writing. She talks about her love for writing. She talks about sequels. We talk about the writing industry. I mean, this woman's love for writing is awesome. So here's the interview. Let's start off by, you're an author. You've been writing for a while. Tell me, what got you into writing?
Um, Reading, basically. It was just kind of a way to relieve stress when I was a kid. So I would write smaller stories as a kid. Some I finished, some I didn't. And this was the first one where the plot just kind of punched me in the face and wouldn't leave me alone until I got it all out.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So from there, what made you decide, okay, I love to write. Maybe I want to do this professionally?
It it just felt so good to put it out, to actually like write it all out and just to have it complete and in my hands, and just seeing this physical book with my name on it made me think, you know what, I don't want to lose this. I want to keep on doing this.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So tell me about your first project, very first project.
Very first project. Oh, that's a difficult one because I'd have to go way back to.
Let me rephrase it. How many projects do you have to date?
Oh, that one, just one, because that's the first one I've ever actually published.
Awesome, awesome.
I am partway through laying the groundwork for the next one, and I'm hoping to actually get that one professionally published, not just self-published. I really want like a proper like literary agent and a good publisher and things like that.
Tell me about your current project.
This one is going to be another horror suspense type of novel. The target audience will probably be a little bit older, so this won't be for 16 to 18-year-olds, although, they could read it too. This one's going to follow 3 different characters living their own separate lives, but slowly get tied together by a mysterious event that keeps on happening.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you kind of the horror type of suspense genre. I love that. I love that. I don't have a lot of. I don't get to do a lot of those. I will do a lot more of those for October, which is so awesome. So why? So what gravitated you to that genre?
I just always loved ghost stories, which is strange because I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think they exist. I mean, coming from a religious background, I do believe in like some supernatural things, but not necessarily in human, for lack of a better term, human ghosts. But I would still listen to a bunch of podcasts about horror stories, podcasts about true crime, and the two of them just sort of meshed together in my head and became The Empress Inverted.
Okay, good. That was actually my next question. I was going to ask what actually inspired a lot of it. So yeah, so pretty much so that's pretty cool. So what's the name of the project that's out now?
The Empress Inverted is the name of the project that is out. The one that I'm currently working on doesn't have a title yet. The working title is Ursa Major, but that is subject to change.
Oh, I like that. So tell me about this one that's out now.
This one is almost a coming of age story. And what I really like about it is, in my opinion, most of the horror is happening behind the scenes. And I don't want to give away too much because I know some of the viewers won't have read it yet.
Exactly.
But I wanted to sort of take what would be considered scary, in which, you know, a haunting, a ghost, obviously that's scary, and then turn it around and show us something that's just as terrifying, but even more common.
So I like that you're taking the typical horror story and kind of turning it on its ear, turning it into something else to where it's different. I like different. Different. I'm attracted to different. So different is awesome. So how soon before this next book is out?
That's a good question. The Empress Inverted was finished in about 3 months, but I had a lot more time and a lot more energy when I was working on the Empress Inverted. So this one will probably take a while longer, and it's going to be a significantly longer book, if my notes have anything to say about that. So this one might take 6 months to a year.
Awesome.
And that's just writing it. I don't know about publishing it.
Awesome. You'll find a publisher, trust me. You don't find a publisher, you don't find an agent. It's going to be so awesome. So my next question is, I know you have more than 2 books in you. How many books you think you have in you beyond the 2 that you have?
Oh, gee. I'm honestly not sure. I know they'll come out little by little. I think I hit that slump. I don't know if other authors get it, but I put out the first book and then I had this idea of, all right, now what? And I was searching for ideas in every possible corner and nothing was kind of blooming. So I had this thought like, oh my gosh, am I burnt out after just 1 book?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I didn't want to fall into that. So I was just pulling things and spitting out random ideas. And I had 3 that were originally going to be short stories. And then my husband had the suggestion of, you know, what if they were all together in one? And I thought, oh yeah, maybe. And then it made more sense. So, you know, I think if I can come up with a few ideas just a couple months after the first one, maybe there's a few more in there that I haven't counted yet. At least 10, I hope.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I need to ask you this. This is like a very odd question. Because I know how I felt. When you went from the transition of just a writer to published author, how did that feel? And how did it feel to have people actually read your book and you now have fans and readers? How does all that feel between the transition of the two?
Honestly, it felt really good, even though most of my readers are just my friends now. When I got my first review on Amazon that came from a person I didn't know, I was like shrieking and I was shoving my phone in my husband's face. Look, I don't know this person, someone I don't know read my book. And it just feels really great to have a tiny little piece of your brain, like this tiny world that you created, and show it to everybody and they enjoy it.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It just feels really great to give something so personal just out and just make people happy with it.
Awesome. So, how do you come up with your ideas for your stories? So, where do a lot of your stories come
from? For Empress Inverted, this one came from a murder that happened in Pennsylvania back in the 80s. I don't want to say which one because that one can be a little bit of a spoiler. And from a ghost story that I heard on a podcast called Real Life Ghost Stories. They take subscriber stories, and there was one that I heard that just kind of really mixed well together with this true crime story, and it wouldn't leave my head. So a little bit was, I don't want to say stolen, but it was very strongly inspired by these 2 stories. And I think it's transformative enough. You can't call it stolen because of the influence of other people and location and things like that, and motive behind the villain and things like that.
Well, I'm just going to say this. Drawing inspiration for your own book is never stealing, because you're not exactly taking an entire plot line, but you're modifying the plot line into your story, weaving it into your story. So no, never refer to it as stealing. You just more of adapting it to your story.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. So where can we buy your current book?
My current book is only available on Amazon because I published it through Kindle Direct Publishing. That's pretty much the only place to get it from. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get a physical copy.
Okay, awesome. So now I need to know, you don't have a website or anywhere I can get to know you, or?
I don't have a website at the moment. I do have the Empress Inverted Facebook page.
Awesome.
And from there you can find my author Facebook page, and I have a Twitter set up, but they're very new. I only just came up with them a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. Because like I said, once the show come out, what we're gonna do is you're gonna be on our web page and our media page. So I'll always post links of different authors onto my media page. So you'll be just fine.
Okay.
We'll push you out a little bit further. So my next question is, I've already asked you what other books you have. Where do you see, how many books do you see having like within the next 5 years?
I want to have at least 2 in the next 5 years. Obviously, I can't guarantee that because life has its ups and downs, and I don't currently write as a living. So I have to work, this new passion that I found around everything else.
Right.
Yep. But I mean, hopefully, if I can get it to a point where my writing can provide me a living, maybe we can see like 3 or 4 books in the next 5 years, because I found that once I get the idea in my head, it all just comes out very fast.
Right. So now within the writing industry, how do you feel, I guess this is more of how do you feel about the way the industry is going today with being able to publish and sell your books and self-publishing? How do you feel about the industry as a whole?
It does seem a little bit overwhelming. It's a lot of hoops to jump through to get properly published. And I feel like maybe that's why self-publishing for the first book was the best way to go, just because the best way to get directly to an audience. And even with a small audience, it's a great sampling of information that comes back and says, hey, I really like your work. So when I do go into traditional publishing, I can point to this and say, hey, it was sparsely read, but well reviewed. So all you need to give me is a bigger audience. So I feel like this is going to help me kind of jump through some of those hoops.
Okay. I'm also going to ask, and this is just perfect question, you don't have to just answer, but why the transition from self-publishing to traditional publishing?
I don't have a marketing department of my own. I'm not a very good marketer. That's a big one. Some copyright things that are a little difficult to navigate, things like that. And it just feels a little better. It feels like you convinced more people to like your work. And when you have a traditional publisher and an agent, you have people behind you who are investing in you, and they always want to make sure that that investment pays off. So they will really, push it a little bit further to try and earn back what they gave to you. So I feel like I have a little more power in my corner going the traditional publishing route.
Awesome. You have a fan base. You have everything falls off your first book. And from what I'm reading, from what I read in my research, your book is going pretty good. Your book's doing very well. Where do you see your book going more? Is it going further in the next 2 years with the second and third and everything? Because everything falls off the first book.
Oh, you mean like a sequel of sorts?
Yes.
I don't think so. I had a friend who suggested it. I might, come back to Rose and the others. I had an idea of, Gianna being an investigator, Rose having her own sort of mediumship. So maybe, but if I did something like that, it would be far in the future, and it would fall along the same vein, but I would need to find something good for her to do, some way for her to connect with at least one of her old friends to try and tackle a similar problem.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now my final question. I always give my authors the final word. You can give advice, you can give shout out, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say, the floor is
Um, I guess if I wanted to give advice to an author who's currently working on a book, the best thing to do, especially when you get stuck, is just make a timeline, 1 or 2 sentences per event. And if you get stuck where you're writing, just write the next block and then you can transition to it in any way you want. As long as you know what step you're taking next and you have it on a piece of paper in front of you and you can look at it, you can just say character does A, character does B. You don't have to write what's in between, just write character does B and then worry about that later.
I told you it's going to be a great interview. So when we come back, we're going to have HD's 2 cents. But first, here's what's going to come up next week on the Author's Corner. This October is the Author's Corner's biggest special ever. In conjunction with Sticky Situations and founders Julia Press Simmons and Allison Grace, we'll be doing a 2-week special with 4 amazing authors, powerful storytellers talking about their craft, and more. October 5th is the date. HD Television is the channel. Stay tuned as we talk to Allison Grace, Sandra McCall, Shabor, and Forever Red, coming together for one big special. News, updates, and more from Sticky Situations with a surprise or two. It's the Sticky Situations special with Julia Press Simmons and Allison Grace, October 5th on the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell on HD Television. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless.
Have you seen The Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell? It's the best show you're not watching. Every week we have authors, editors, artists, and others from various industries. There are 3 ways to watch Author's Corner, primarily on our YouTube channel, HD Television, on our HD Television Facebook page, and on our media page at www.hdcampbellmedia.com. It's the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. Check it out weekly, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. And God bless you. Just who is author H.D. Campbell? He's the multi-gene author who can take you on several trips at once. With H.D. Campbell, you can have a romance, you can track a killer, or even stop an international incident. For 30 years and still writing, H.D. Campbell will take you on trips you've never been before. Learn more about him by logging on to hdcampbell3.com or check him out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Read his rewrites of How to Lose a Black Woman and Late Murder at 10 with a new title coming soon. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome to HD's 2 cents. Today I want to talk about imagination. No, I'm not talking about imagination in the fiction sort of way. I'm talking about imagination in the marketing way. Of course, you can always have your books on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Smashwords and other places, but they're just sitting there. What are you doing to get people to really look at your book? You can't just expect someone to do an internet search. Okay, I'm here, and you can always, yes, you can always drop a link, which is what I always encourage you to do. But what are you actually doing? I mean, are you in writers groups every day? Are you put together promo? I mean, I'm not saying you have to do it in the sense of what I'm doing, or as far as the office corner and videos and all that. But you can't actually hire someone to do it. You don't necessarily have to hire me, but you can hire someone to help you get the word out. Get someone who can do flyers. Get someone who knows how to get the word out. Get business cards. You can always do little pins and bookmarks. Keep your name out there. I understand, I speak from personal experience. We authors have a problem talking about ourselves, but we're the ones that actually should keep it out there, because and even if your book is more than a year old, it's new to someone. That's the crazy thing about books. It's new to someone. You can always reach someone, and it's just so awesome. Facebook page, Twitter page. Always keep that out there. Always make sure someone knows. That's that imagination. That's where that imagination goes. You need imagination, and then think outside the box. Don't just go with what I just said. You can think outside the box. There's like so many things, and don't even cost a lot of money either. I mean, business cards don't cost that much money. Word of mouth definitely don't cost that much money. If you just actually even pass out cards with covers with your book on it, I mean, there's just so many things. I'm just saying, use your imagination. Use You work so hard on your book. You work so hard on your craft. You want people to know that it's out there. Don't work so hard just to sit back and just expect things to happen. No, I mean, you worked hard. It's time to now work even harder. I tell people all the time, writing the book and publishing the book is just part one. The work is actually really just beginning. So that's my 2 cents today. Thank you. Peace. Stay tuned next week for another 2 authors. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless you.